Everyone in the channel is talking about AI. Every pitch deck has it, every roadmap leads to it. But here's the problem. Half of the room using the same words to mean completely different things. I see it on the vendor side every day. Our sales team say one thing, our partners hear another. And you're surprised that opportunities get lost in translation. So today I'm going to walk you through 6 AI terms that I believe everyone needs to understand on both sides of the channel. And I'm not talking about the textbook definitions, the ones that actually matters when you are trying to identify, scope and close new business together. I'm sharing this as someone who sits on the vendor side and works with consulting delivery partners across cyber, risk and compliance. I see where the disconnect is, and I'm trying to help to close that gap. So let's get into it. Large language model, or LLM, is the engine behind the AI-powered products that we are pitching right now. When we on the vendor side say AI-powered, what we really mean that there is an LLM doing the heavy lifting underneath. And our partners really deserve to know which LLM we are using, right? Same principle as a security audit. You want to know who is handling your data, where your data is going, where your customers' data is going. So think about LLM as the core system that been trained on enormous amount of text. So it can understand language, generate responses, summarize documents, and much more. The reason this matters on the channel is not all LLMs are the same. Is it your own model? Is it OpenAI, Anthropic, something open source? The question matters enormously for our partners, customers, especially when it comes to regulated industries. They are cyber and compliance teams. They really need to understand where the data flows when LLM is processing it. Is it leaving the environment? Is it being stored? Is it being used to train the model further? So when you are in a conversation about an AI-powered product, the right question is, which LLM, where does the data flow, and what are the data residency implications? When both sides of the channel can answer confidently, it builds trust and obviously accelerates deals. So the next one that I want to talk about is foundation model versus fine-tune model. A foundation model is a general purpose base. Think about ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. A fine-tune model is when the base been trained further on a specific industry data. For our consulting partners, fine-tuning is where services revenue lives, really. Scoping, data preparation, compliance validation. And on the vendor side, we need to be clear about which one we are actually offering. Here is why the distinction matters. If you are a partner and working with the client in financial services or healthcare, a generic foundation model is not going to cut it probably for compliance-sensitive workflows. The client needs something tuned to their regulatory language, their risk frameworks, their data classification processes. And the fine-tuning work is really a services engagement. So someone has to prepare the data, someone has to validate the outputs against regulatory requirements. Someone has to test it and make sure that the governance framework holds up. That someone is a delivery partner, a consulting partner, a software engineering company. And from channel perspective, this one is probably the biggest opportunity out there. When there is a clarity about where the foundation model ends and where the partner's value begin, both sides wins, right? So the quick question to ask, is this a foundation model talking, or has it been fine-tuned for this vertical? Because the answer completely changes the partner opportunity and size of the engagement. And if we have not fine-tuned it as a vendor, that's not really a weakness, right? It's just a joint go-to-market opportunity with our partners. So the next one, RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. This is a really hot topic nowadays, because just think about it. Instead of guessing from general knowledge, the AI pulls answers from your customer's own verified data. Think approved policies, control documents, internal knowledge base. For our partners, RAG is where the real services engagement lives. Data architecture, governance, delivery. It's not a tick box on the vendor's price list. Yes, we want AI. It is a project we enable together, right? If you're working in risk and compliance, when the customer needs their AI tools to reference approved procedures, validated processes, or classified specific documentation, RAG is the mechanism that keeps your AI grounded in trusted data rather than making things up. And yes, that's a big services opportunity. And someone has to design the data architecture. Someone has to decide which sources the AI can access, which are the ones that cannot. Someone has to build the retrieval pipelines, test the outputs, and make sure the governance framework holds up over time. So it's the same as with fine-tuning a model. You need to help your customers to make sure that the sources that is used is up to their environment rather than being something generic. I have seen customer conversations completely shift when RAG enters the picture, because suddenly we are not selling a product feature, we are scoping a joint delivery engagement around data governance and controlled information access. That is a really different conversation and is a much more strategic one. So for those of us in the channel, this is where we need to think of partners not just as a route to market, but also as a delivery engine that makes AI capabilities actually work in the real world. When it comes to reality, we need to talk about cost. And when we are talking about cost, you need to understand tokens. They are the currency of the AI. Every word in, every word out costs tokens. And that's how AI gets priced. For our partners, you simply cannot build a customer business case without understanding the economics around tokens, right? So if you think about tokens, is roughly 3/4 of a word. And every time the AI reads something, the cost input tokens. Every time it generates a response, that cost output tokens, right? So this is how we as vendors price our AI services. And if our partners are helping a customer to adopt an AI solution, the token model directly affects the entire business case. How many users, how much data, what the complexity around those queries, all of that translates to token consumption, which ultimately translates to cost. And honestly, how AI is changing the way we think about pricing and the value in the enterprise world is a much bigger conversation. The shift from per seat licensing to consumption-based model is much bigger than when we talked about moving from perpetual licenses to SaaS. What that means for partner margins, how you forecast revenue when usage is variable, that deserves its own video and I will come back to it. But for now, just know what tokens are. That's the unit that drives all of it. Think of it like a bandwidth in the old networking days. You would never size a solution without understanding the throughput requirements, and basically tokens work exactly the same way. So for cyber-focused partners, there's also one more element. When customer processes sensitive data through an AI model, every token represents data in motion. Where do those tokens get processed? Are they stored? For how long? And that's where both sides of the channel need to have clear answers. So if you get these questions from your customers, partners can sell with confidence and customers can adapt with trust. So the next one that I want to talk about is AI agents. This is the big one in 2026 because AI agents are the ones that are systems that not just talk, they can take action. They can trigger workflows, make decisions, update records, escalate issues. It's a massive opportunity again for channels. But you need to think about to the fact that who is accountable when an agent makes the wrong call. That is a governance, access control, and audit trail conversation. And that's exactly where our consulting partners are adding value. This is the term you are going to hear in every vendor roadmap this year. An AI agent is not just a chatbot, it is an AI system that can chain tasks together and make decisions along the way. From vendor perspective, this is a really exciting because the AI moves from being a feature to being a capability that automates entire workflows. From partner perspective, create a huge scoping and delivery opportunity. Someone has to design those workflows. Someone has to define the decision boundaries. Someone has to build guardrails. And here is where the cyber conversation gets really real. If an AI agent can take actions autonomously, what permission does it have? What happens when it makes a decision that violates a policy? Those are simple governance questions. Access control questions, audit trail questions. They are exactly the kind of questions that cyber and compliance consulting partners build to answer. I have seen demos where AI agents were presented as a magical automation layer, but with no discussion of governance or accountability. That gap is a problem, but it's also an opportunity. When consulting partners are positioned as the governance and implementation layer from day one, that is how agents go from a roadmap slide to a delivered solution. That's how you move from POCs to production-ready systems. Last but not least, I think we cannot talk about AI without talking about some of the challenges. And one of the biggest one that everybody needs to know about is hallucinations. Hallucination is when AI generates something that sounds completely confident, but it's factually wrong. In a regulated environment, that is not a quirky bug, it's a compliance risk, right? So the consulting partners who understand the risk frameworks are perfectly positioned to help customers to build trust and validation around those outputs that AI generates. And across the channel, we all need to be honest about this rather than pretend it does not happen. So let me explain why this matters so much. Hallucination is when AI invents a statistic, references a policy that does not exist, or fabricates a citation. And it does it with a complete confidence. And that's the scary bit. If a customer deploys an AI tool in a regulated environment, maybe financial advisory, legal compliance, or healthcare, and that tool hallucinates, the consequences are not just embarrassing, right? They can be regulatory violations, they can be audit failures, they can erode the client trust that took years to build, right? So this connects directly to compliance and risk frameworks our partners, customers already operate under. Hallucination is not a technical curiosity. It's an operational risk that needs to be assessed, monitored, and mitigated, just like any other threat in your risk register. And this is precisely why partners who understand risk and compliance are so valuable in this space. They are not just deploying our technology. They are helping customers to build trust around AI outputs. How do they validate what AI produces? What is the human oversight model? What is the fallback? The channel that gets this right, the one that acknowledges hallucination, openly and brings consulting partners in as the trust and validation layer. Builds much stronger joint proposition. So let's be honest about it and let our partners do what they do the best. 6 terms. Now we speak AI the same way as both sides of the channel. This is how we stop losing deals to buzzwords, confusion, and start building real opportunities together. As I have said before in this series, the fundamentals of good channel partnerships had not changed. The technology layer we are working with, that has changed. And the partner who take time to understand that layer, wherever their strengths in governance, data architecture, system integration, or delivery, are going to be the ones that will be winning the most strategic deals. But it goes both ways. Everyone in the channel needs to meet each other halfway. Be transparent what the AI actually does, how it is built, and where the partner opportunity begins. This is how we build trust, and trust is what makes the channel work. If you found this useful, share it with someone in your channel who needs it, and let me know in your comments which one of these terms trips people up in most of the conversations.